everybody. It's Chris Shubert from CNSG coming back to you with another edition of The Zoom, where we zoom in on thought leaders in the channel today. I have the pleasure today of having Rusty Jensen from one of our newest focus suppliers, inContact. Welcome, Rusty.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Thanks, Christopher.
Happy to have you on the Zoom. Now, you're coming to us with the wonderful title of VP of Revenue Generation. One, that's a unique title. Want to hear a little bit about what that means. And two, you're part of the Decade Club, someone who's been at their chosen supplier for a whole 10 years. That is incredibly rare. So tell us a little bit about your inContact journey and what it means to be the VP of Revenue Generation at NICE.
Yeah, you bet. So I actually started at inContact. I was an entrepreneur before I came to inContact. So I know how tough it is to be out there fighting every day to try to make the money you make. And I got a lot of respect for those people that have their own businesses that are out there making the economy move. But after I was an entrepreneur, I decided, hey, you know what? I want to try to go into the corporate world. I want to get into a tech company that's like a small cap growth company. And I want to be there for 10 years. It was my goal. And I would spend 10 years building up this company and getting engaged, just like I would have if I would have built my own business. And then try to get into a point where I had equity and I was a valuable member of the company. That was the objective. And it actually worked out. So I started there.
You're the one where it worked out.
It worked out. So I started on the ground. I was a sales developer doing prospecting. And then I sold the product in our mid-market division. And then I ran our West region. Then I ran the West End sales development. And then I ran our mid-market organization as a VP. And then went from there to the VP of Revenue Generation. So my job now is to work with our channel team and to work with our direct prospecting teams to build pipeline all across the company for NICE. So that's what I focus on.
Well, sounds like a tall order you have there.
Yeah.
For the channel today, contact center has gone from being a buzzword 2 years ago to being a major component of every channel partner's success strategy today. It's tied to UCaaS, it's tied to SD-WAN, it's tied to the cloud, it's tied to everything. But unlike many of the players in contact center, inContact's actually been around a while, and I think we would all arguably list you as one of the titans and the longstanding market leaders in the industry. But for those that don't know inContact, besides you're having one of the most fabulous names in the channel, tell us a little bit about who inContact is today.
Yeah, you bet. So inContact, we started in 1997 as a carrier reseller. So we were essentially selling telecom services, and most of our distribution, in fact, we didn't have a sales organization. Our distribution was through partners in the channel. That's how we actually found our first niche of really gaining some success. That's how we functioned. So our channel was around before our sales team was. And we built our company as a network company, but in the mid-90s, we started losing a lot of money. We kind of started at the wrong time. When you go from 15 cents a minute down to 1 penny, right, it turns into a different game. So we actually had a software system that had been built by some entrepreneurs that was hosted in our network, and it was called MyACD. So that software was actually built by one of our referral partners, and they actually funded it and built an ACD to attach to their phone system and to sell as a call center module on top of I don't know if you guys remember, it's a Harris 2020 PBX. So old school, right? Paperweight now. So, but they built that platform. So what we did is we saw it inside our application in our network. And we said, this is it. This is our new revenue model. So our CEO, Paul Jarman, went and they acquired that company. And that's what became inContact. So we actually transitioned away from our network and telecom background into software. And we actually started selling that as a platform. And that's what kind of changed the game for us. It helped us to grow. So we went public as SaaS, SaaS, which was pretty cool. And then we built this company. We built in the channel, we built it direct. And we got to a point where we got bought by NICE. So NICE is based out of Israel. They're a long-standing workforce optimization and scheduling platform. They bought inContact as a strategy to bring all the contact center suite products you need into the cloud. And so they bought us for about $1 billion about 3 years ago or so. and we've integrated all of our products now, and that's who we've become. So we've been born in the cloud. We were built to be able to deploy quickly and effectively, and we have been around for a long time. I've been there for 10 years. It's been really good. That's who we are.
So looking at the contact center game, it's obviously a fairly packed field now. You have pure play providers such as yourself. You have many UCaaS providers that bolt on contact center, either through elements that they've built themselves, or in some cases, they're actually bolting on NICE inContact as a contact center scheme. So as you look at all the different choices out there today, what do you think are the top differentiators for inContact, and why do customers choose you today?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So to kind of address some of the comments you made, UCaaS and CRM both are making inroads into the contact center market because they have to. The contact center market itself has started to shift pretty aggressively toward the cloud. It was a lagger compared to other industries. Like CRM is far ahead of where contact center has been. But as that started to become more prevalent and necessary, UCaaS providers see it all the time. CRMs are starting to see it all the time, and they need contact center capability. Well, one of the things that's difficult with contact centers is there's just a lot of complexity to it. So there's a lot of metrics, a lot of science behind how you manage a contact center. And they really have to each do 4 things. So each contact center has to route contacts. So you're talking voice, you're talking digital, SMS, chat, social media, the ways that customers want to communicate. You've got to get those contacts to the right people at the right time. And that's sort of the fundamental element that most companies have started to construct. And then from that point, you've got to make sure that your people, your contact center people, are scheduled and they're actually following their schedule to get the right mix of calls. So if you route the contacts in the right way, so the calls, emails, chats, etc., you still have to make sure the people are there to take them. Then you have to make sure they're saying the right things. So that's your workforce optimization. So you have to QA them and make sure you're training them and making sure that they're saying what your executives want them to say. And then from there, you have to get the third thing, which is, what do our customers think about that interaction? Do they like it? So is it a good interaction? And you have to survey and analyze what customers think about it. And then you have to use all that information to make change happen. So if you think about contact center, it seems simple, which is I got to route contacts. I got to make sure people are scheduled and they're following their schedule. I got to make sure they're saying the right things and communicating they want. And I got to use that information to make changes happen.
I really appreciate that definition of a contact center there, because what's gotten really tough for a lot of channel partners out there is with the growth of UCaaS and CCaaS, there's a lot of confusion about, what does what? When do you need contact center and when you don't?
Right.
That whole concept there of, yes, does UCaaS and CCaaS do some elements of contact center? Absolutely.
Sure.
But can they do them all together? No. And that's what makes contact center special.
Exactly. Great point. And
what about your contact center? What makes the NICE inContact special?
So that's where we get to the next point, right? Which is, how does NICE manage this? Because a contact center, a lot of people can think of it as, look, I just need to be able to queue calls on my phone system or in my CCaaS system. And that's really not what contact centers need, because they need the 4 things. So what makes NICE inContact unique and so much better is our ability to actually execute all of those tasks as a product. So NICE incorporated inContact into their fold, and we built a full cloud suite with one product that allows you to route, schedule, QA, get customer survey analytics and feedback, and then use it in a BI reporting tool to make change happen. This is new in the market to be able to execute this way. Because most contact centers, you're buying 2 systems for routing, you're buying another system for scheduling, you're doing another one for QA and analytics, you're doing another one for survey and customer analytics, and then you have a BI tool and reporting set to try to tie it together, and it's really messy. When you engage with a contact center and you're on hold forever and you're getting transferred around, and when they connect to you and nobody knows who you are, the reason why that happens and it frustrates customers is because they don't have a tech set that blends well together to solve that problem. So here's what ends up happening. A really good functional product that doesn't have a lot of issues, that's clean, that's easy to deploy, it really only exists with NICE inContact, really. There's some other providers with some capabilities where they bolt them together from different products, but it's not smooth. And here's what happens when a UCaaS provider or a CRM or they go into a platform as a service like a Twilio or something, they try to build a contact center. They think the core concepts are easy, like queuing calls and making sure it goes to the right person. That seems easy, but it's actually very hard to build it to a point to where it can serve a contact center with all the different requirements that they need in a way that is just smooth and simple. And that's what Nice inContact does well. And anyone who spends any time around contact center, you know it's painful. It gets very painful. It's hard to do. And that's kind of where we shine.
Well, let's kind of dig into that pain. What has happened over the last few years, obviously in the channel grew up on selling simple bandwidth and simple voice and data solutions. Integrated access circuits were the backbone of everything we did. And awesome. Then we got into UCaaS, hosted PBX as it was originally launched. And we learned, okay, we can do phones. And what's this ACD thing? And oh my goodness, I got to do voicemails. We got past that, got into mobile apps. But now in the contact center realm, one of the things that's really the norm in contact center is the idea that the partner can't do it alone, that they need to team up with their supplier and bring in that, a lot of times, the direct side rep, which for decades has been our arch nemesis, bring in that direct side rep to help us do the discovery, to build the different elements of the contact center and help it function. Obviously, the sales process is something very important to Nice inContact. So tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing today and what you've done to make it more partner friendly.
It's great. It's a great question. So our sales process at Nice inContact, in terms of how we engage with partners, is all about trying to be flexible and trying to run the cycle the same way as our partners do. Like, we recognize that when we work with a partner, it's not just contact center that you're selling. This is a relationship that you've had that's strong, and you're selling and delivering a whole myriad of products, not just contact center. So we get it, number one. So we grew up in the channel. Like I said, we had channel partners as our salespeople before we started. So our objective is to be as flexible and as easy to work with as possible as a rep, number one. But two, as we get into the cycle, we're trying to become a strong support mechanism. So one of the things that works very well is we have all the expertise in contact center. There is complexity to it. There's a lot of requirements that people have that are unique that can throw you one way or the other, right? That make it difficult. So when we come into the account, we want to be able to help guide the project management of the process and put the partner as the keystone of how that gets executed. But we help to develop the sequence of events, the project management on how this should be deployed, the common steps that are required to get through a contact center as a service sales cycle, and then help recommend those to the customer and then build a project plan, but then funneling that back to the partner and saying, the partner's the key to this, right? We are going to help build this whole process, but it all kind of funnels back to the partner. So good interoperation between our sales team and our partners is critical, but we know who stands in front, right? We know how to support, and we know how to build the resources.
That's a very important point, because for many of our partners today, there is a fear, when they have to get involved with contact centers. It's what keeps a lot of them from bringing contact center deals in, is they're worried about that team up because they're worried about losing control of the process or not being seen as valued because maybe they don't know everything there is to know about omnichannel routing.
Right.
I think your commitment there is exceptionally important for the community to know about.
Yeah. Well, I would say too that our education process that we have to educate partners is really second to none. We have these incredible programs. So we will train any partner in a process they want to learn. If you want to learn how to demo the platform and go through it in detail, we have a boot camp for that. If you want to just have a good high level of how to sell and how contact centers think and function, we have something called Club 21 that partners can join, where it's 90-second videos, 21 of them, once a day, to learn all about contact center and the jargon and how it functions. And I'm telling you, the level of knowledge that you gain is just up here. Because you guys are smart, right? You run companies. All you need to know is the basics of how the customer thinks, how contact centers function, and how it plugs in. you will love that material because it will help you to really level it up and help guide the process. So it'll give a lot of comfort.
So as everyone knows who's listened to me over the years, I'm a trainer, and I'm exceptionally critical of training materials. So full disclosure, Rusty, I looked at this and like, okay, whatever, I'll give it a shot. And by God, it was good content, because these videos are straight to the point. There's no fluff. Everyone knows how much I hate fluff.
Yeah.
Really good stuff, and got through them over a 2-day period. And it was, there's a lot of stuff I knew, obviously, because I'm Mr. Expert, but there's a lot of stuff I didn't know. And it was really, really cool and really well laid out. So for the CNSG community, please get with your Nice and Contact and learn a little bit more about Club 21, because it really is an awesome little tool, and just one of the many ones that Nice has available to the partner community. As we look at the customers that choose you, Nice and Contact, again, long-standing name. You've been around for a while. You're not a name that only has 2 customers. You got thousands. Yeah. But if you had to narrow it down to kind of a bread and butter case study for us, tell us a little bit about someone that Nice and Contact helped and what that impact was for that customer. Yeah.
So I think one of the things that just comes to mind, because it was pretty fresh and pretty recent, in terms of how things execute, and it's I think it's kind of an interesting story. So one of our employees who works actually in our WFO side, her daughter is a contact center rep. So worked at a really, really large car company that has about 1,000 contact center seats, right? So this scenario is kind of a big situation. And because of everything that's been happening with COVID, where contact centers had to move home quickly, this car company was able to engage with us and start working in the process to be able to move agents home. Well, her daughter used to have cancer. So she's just recovered from cancer within the last year and a half or so, was very concerned about getting sick. And being in a contact center, we have everybody close quarters and operating. She was actually thinking about, do I just call in sick? Like, what do I do to try to protect myself? And as she was about to literally start calling in sick and trying to, prevent going in, immediately they announced on Friday, we are moving our entire contact center home. And they bought 1,000 Chromebooks, and they had everybody up and running again at 8 a.m. from Friday to Monday. And Nice and Contact teams worked over the weekend. We helped get them engaged. We helped get them live, functioning and operating, but not just operating, but operating efficiently, because we still have our scheduling tools and our QA tools and everything that are built in. And so they were able to move their entire contact center home over a weekend, which subsequently actually impacted this call center rep and solved her worry, right? So now she can keep her job, she can keep operating the way she needs to, and work from home. So
let's dig into that one just a little bit more from a philosophy standpoint. We've done a lot of case studies on the Zoom the last couple of weeks, and a lot of them have had to do with speed of response, getting to the cloud. But one of the things I want to key in on your story is just, you've been with Nice and Contact for 10 years, so you've got the gift of perspective that a lot of folks don't. So Sure. As you look at that, you take that company that had 1,000 seats in 1 or 2 geographic locations where they had all of their reps coming in, getting their coffee, doing their meetings, the generic bad office episode, right? That's what a call center is. I spent years in them and I've got my scars. Now we've taken that and moved that all home. Question for you: with all the productivity tools that you have, all the quality assurance tools that a Nice inContact can provide from a supervisor standpoint, do folks come back to their brick and mortar call centers, or have we entered the age of the virtual agent now being the dominant agent?
That's a good question, because they don't. They're not going to go back to it. We've moved multiple contact centers where they had to come in, they go home, and they have to VPN into the platform, and then they do their double authentication, and then they go to try to connect. Doesn't work, and they have to call the help desk, all these issues, right? And when you move to a platform where you just log in, that's designed as if it's treating everyone remote anyway, and then it has more capabilities than any of those platforms built in, where you mean I don't have to implement this? I just have to put things in and just, you mean I can do this in 10 minutes? There is no going back. And that's what we've seen from most of the customers we've moved home, because we had to move a lot of companies quickly, right? Because they were in bad situations. Within 48 hours, getting them live and operating. They're not going back. It just doesn't work. You know what I mean? It's not the same.
Well, I concur with you there. I think one of the most interesting things we're going to see in the channel, and it's going to be a big impact in a positive way, and in some cases negative for some partners with the way they've built things up, is those big home office locations, those 3,000 seats in one spot. That's an archaic way to do business now. And I think the thing that people have been missing is the ability to track productivity. And now with the more advanced contact centers, the ones that do all four elements, like you mentioned, that's table stakes now. So right. They're going to have that capability. Very interesting. Very good discussion today on contact center in the future. If a CNSG partner wants to learn more about NICE inContact and get involved, what's a good first step for them?
You can talk to any sales rep and say, hey, I want to talk about an account and engage. Now, whether you're ready to register it or you just want to talk about it and say, what's the best way for me to progress or learn? You would just contact Tricia and let her know, or potentially submit a registration on our partner portal. But any of us know exactly what the program is. Any direct sales rep will be extremely friendly. They'll jump right into it if you want to contact them. And then we'll deploy our teams to help you get educated, to get you any kind of resources you need. So if you want to learn more, if you want to know how to approach the account, if you want, anything that under the sun that you want help with, we're here to help with, because we want to make sure we empower you.
Well, fantastic, Rusty. This has been a nice conversation, and I do hope our partners get in contact with you. Thank you, folks. We'll be here all week. Try the veal. Until next time on the Zoom, I'm Chris Shubert at CNSG, where relationships matter. And sadly, so do jokes.
Thanks, Chris.